Hi friends, I'm here to enrich you all with another video. If you are watching my video for the first time, please subscribe my channel iShoes English Grow and click on the bell icon. Hi students, today we are going to learn the first chapter from Snapshots, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, written by William Saroyan. William Saroyan was born on 31st August 1908. He was an American novelist, playwright, and short story writer. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 1940 and in 1943 won the Academy Award for Best Story for the film adaptation of his novel The Human Comedy. He died on 18th May 1981. Saroyan wrote extensively about the Armenian immigrant life in California. Many of his stories and plays are set in his native Fresno. Some of his best known works are The Time of Your Life and My Name is Aram. This story revolves around two poor Armenian boys, Murad and Aram. They are members of the Garoglanian family. The hallmarks of their tribe are trust and honesty. The story begins in a mood of nostalgia. Aram, the narrator, was then a boy of 9, and his cousin Murad, a more adventurous but slightly crazy fellow, was 13. The narrator remembers vividly the day when Murad came to his house at 4 in the morning and woke him up by tapping on the window of his room. Aram jumped out of bed, and when he looked out of the window, he couldn't believe what he saw. His cousin Murad was sitting on a beautiful white horse. Murad asked him to be quick if he wanted to ride. The narrator had a longing to ride, but his whole Garoglanian family was poor though well known for their trust and honesty. The narrator knew that his cousin Murad couldn't have bought the horse, and if he couldn't have bought it, he must have stolen it. The narrator refused to believe he had stolen it because no member of the Garoglanian family could be a thief. The narrator, Aram, asked Murad where he had stolen that horse. Murad did not reply but asked him to leap out of the window if he wanted to ride. He knew that Murad was crazy regarding horses. Stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing money or selling a stolen horse. The narrator leaped into his clothes. He jumped down to the yard from the window and leaped up onto the horse behind his cousin Murad. From the house in Walnut Avenue, they reached Olive Avenue in less than 3 minutes. The horse began to trot as the air was fresh and lovely to breathe. Murad was considered one of the craziest members of their family. They reached the open country and let the horse run as long as it felt like running. At last, Murad asked Aram to get down as he wanted to ride alone. Aram asked him if he would let him ride alone. Murad replied that it was up to the horse. The narrator got down and his cousin Murad kicked his heels into the horse and shouted, "Vizier, run!" The horse stood on its hind legs, snorted, and ran forward at a fast speed. Murad raced the horse across a field of dry grass to an irrigation ditch. He crossed the ditch on the horse and 5 minutes later returned and was dripping wet. The sun was coming up. Now the narrator leaped to the back of the horse, but the horse did not move. At the suggestion of Murad, he kicked into the muzzles of the horse. It reared, snorted, and began to run. The narrator didn't know what to do. Instead of running across the field to the irrigation ditch, the horse ran down the road to the vineyard of Dikran Halabain and leaped over 7 vines before Aram fell. Murad came running down the road. He was more worried about the horse than Aram. Both of them searched the horse in different directions. It took Murad half an hour to find the horse and bring him back. Murad hid the horse in the deserted vineyard belonging to farmer Fetwahin. There were some oats and dry alfalfa in the barn. It occurred to narrator that Murad had been taking early rides for some time and had come to him that morning only. He inquired, "How long ago did you steal the horse?" Murad did not like the question. The narrator rephrased it. "How long did you begin riding every morning?" He replied, "Not until this morning." He was obviously not speaking the truth, but he convinced Aram by saying so. Murad then told Aram that it wasn't easy to get the horse to behave so nicely. At first, it wanted to run wild, but since he had a way with the horse, he developed an understanding with the horse. The narrator reached home and ate a hearty breakfast. That afternoon, his uncle Kushro came to the house for coffee and cigarettes. While he was sipping coffee and smoking in the parlor, another visitor arrived. The latter was a farmer named John Byro. He was an Assyrian who, out of loneliness, had learned to speak Armenian. He was also served coffee and tobacco. Sighing sadly, he said that his white horse, which had been stolen last month, was still gone. Uncle Kushro became irritated and snubbed him for crying over a horse. Farmer John Byro was a man with a gentle heart. He had to walk 10 miles to reach there, and his left leg pained him. The horse had cost him $60, and his surrey was no good without a horse. As soon as the farmer went away, Aram ran over to his cousin Murad's house and told him everything. He asked Murad not to return it till he learned to ride. He suggested keeping it for a year or at least 6 months. Murad thought he was inviting a Garoglanian to steal. He decided to return the horse to its true owner. Early every morning for 2 weeks, Murad and Aram took the horse out of the barn of the deserted vineyard where they were hiding it and rode it. Every morning, the horse would leap over grapevines and small trees and throw Aram and run away. Still, Aram hoped to learn to ride as Murad rode. One morning, on the way to Fetwain's deserted vineyard, they came across Farmer John Byro, who was on his way to town. Murad greeted him. The farmer studied the horse eagerly and wished them good morning. He asked the name of their horse. Murad replied that they called it My Heart. John Byro called it a lovely name for a lovely horse. He was certain that it was the horse which had been stolen from him many weeks ago. He asked if he might look into the horse's mouth. On examining the teeth of the horse, the farmer was ready to swear that it was his own horse. But since the fame of their family for honesty was well known, he would not call it the stolen horse. Still, it was a twin of his horse. Early the next morning, the boys took the horse to John Byro's vineyard and put it in the barn. Murad put his arms around the horse, pressed his nose into the horse's nose, patted it, and then went away. That afternoon, John Byro came to their house in his surrey and showed the narrator's mother the horse that had been stolen and returned. He was surprised to find the horse stronger than ever and better tempered too. He thanked God. Uncle Kushro, who was in the parlor, became irritated and shouted at him to be quiet. He observed that his horse had been returned and repeated his pet phrase, "Pay no attention to it." Here, in the story, the boys were impressed by John Byro's attitude towards their parents and family. He knew their parents very well and so believed whatever the boys said. Secondly, the fame of their family for honesty was well known to him. The boys returned the horse to him for the sake of pride and dignity. Hope you all understood this lesson, The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. Thank you.